I'm just going to leave the curtain slide up, and I'm going to wait until about maybe 12:05 to get cranking.
Connor says, yes, they can hear us.
Okay.
Mike said the same.
Excellent. You guys can chat back to us in the typed chat, but has anybody here done a Bevy presentation before? I see we also have Brittany and Naomi. Welcome. A lot of nopes on that. So great. We get to be everybody's first Bevy presentation, and we get to learn together.
Yeah, so for some of you folks that are joining, Bevy is the new hug platform that HubSpot's using. So this is new for all of us because everything's going to be on their own virtual platform as of today, I guess, in terms of the Atlanta group.
And at some point, we'll get back to live in-person meetings. We'll talk about that as we get into this a little bit, but not until it's absolutely.
Man, it'll be great to have hybrid ones. Maybe we run a camera and get a curated chat going while we're doing the live ones. Because I know our Atlanta hugs, we've had some great VIP speakers with a ton of national and international influence. So maybe this will be something that sticks after COVID.
Yeah. All right, we'll get our protocol and timing and everything down tighter too. Obviously, we may start allowing people to enter the room early and then start right on time. But I'm going to go on and dive in. This is Billy Mitchell. Welcome to the first Atlanta Hug virtual meetup. Since we shut down the hugs last year, but it was actually required. We had one or two live ones scheduled when we got the notification from HubSpot at this time last year that it was gonna, for the foreseeable future, be postponed until they got a better plan for how they wanted to do this going forward. And as Alan mentioned, it is now going to be on this Bevy platform. We've got a great presenter. We've already got our hug set up for next month, and an exciting presenter and a great topic, very timely topic that we'll get into later. But for those that are here and those that are entering the room, welcome to the Atlanta HubSpot user group. We're going to ask some questions throughout. We'd love you to introduce yourself in the chat feature. Alan or Addison is going to talk a little bit about just housekeeping on what we've seen so far on this Bevy platform and how we may be able to take advantage of it to make these presentations and meetups more enjoyable and beneficial. But the Atlanta HubSpot user group is here to help you connect with other HubSpot users to share insights, ideas, questions, and suggestions via in-person and virtual meetups. We'll talk about the in-person as we get further into this too. The Atlanta Hug is tailored for HubSpot users who are interested in advancing their marketing, sales, and services, knowledge, and skills. Atlanta Hug presenters, participants, and hosts include experienced HubSpot solutions partners and top-performing HubSpot customers from within the Atlanta community and beyond. You can expect a mixture of education and interaction at each event to help you sharpen your HubSpot prowess and talk through your challenges with others. Everyone gets smarter with each hug meetup, including you. That's our goal. And with that, I'm going to first just introduce our team. I'm Billy Mitchell. We started the Atlanta Hug group actually when they first launched the program. We were one of the first in the world and still one of the most active, which Atlanta should be. And I'm happy to be able to make that claim. We couldn't run the hug without Sonia Stoudemire. That if you've attended a live hug event, you've met Sonia. She's probably helped serve you food or beverages at our meetings. And she definitely helps coordinate it, and she helps with all of our social media platforms we'll talk about later as well. Addison Williams is here. Addison Williams is the owner of 98 To Go, and Alan Helms is the owner of Organic Endeavors. All three of us are strategic partners, and we, as in the co-hosting efforts for the Atlanta Hug, Alan and Addison have both presented in the past. And if you were there for their presentations, you know that they are passionate about their subject matter. Addison's a content developer and strategist, and Alan Helms is probably one of the top guys in the country, if not the world, on diving into the how to best take advantage of the CRM and sales tools, where sales meets marketing, and he'll talk a little bit more about his endeavors there as well. And we also will come back to this before everyone leaves. We'll put this in the, Sonia, maybe you can put these links in the chat. We've got a Slack group. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And if it takes us a little while to, if you're not currently following us or a member of any of those platforms, please request membership, and then we'll approve it as we get around to it. And sorry if that takes too long sometimes, but with that, I'm gonna stop sharing. And Addison or Alan, do you kind of want to take us around to what we were seeing yesterday on just the dashboard here of what we're able to do?
Yes, I'm Addison Williams with 98 to go. I will be the flight attendant who shows you around the cabin real quick. We've got, if you guys want, you're welcome to chat in the general chat. If you have just comments as we're talking, you may have an observation that's for everyone, so you can just throw it right there. If you have a question, something that you want us to address, you'll see in the top right. Actually, I should share my screen real quick. Let's see if it creates some sort of weird portal to hell if I. All right. Yeah, it did. Let's just focus on this top right part. If you guys can see, under chat, there is general, which is where we can all talk to one another. If you'd like, you can go to Q&A, tab over, and I'm going to enable that right now. If you have a question, pop it in questions, and we answer it in two ways. Sometimes we can answer them in typing, in which case they'll pop up in answer column. You click on the question. I'll do a quick test run. I believe, yeah. Alan, just write me a quick question, please, and I'll show how that works. And we can finish the Q&A at the end, but I will leave it live for the duration of the program. Do I use beard oil? So I can either answer live, in which case it dismisses it to answered, and you guys just hear the verbal response, and there won't be anything there typed out. If you see someone else's question that you want answered, thumbs up the question. Yeah, so I'll do this. Oh, that's David. Okay, so I'll answer him. David, I used to, but I found conditioners that I can use in the shower that now replace beard oil. Answered live. Great. So that popped over to answered here, and it just says answered live. How does Q&A work? Well, if I want to reply here, I can just enter it here. You just type a question and then watch the answered column. Boom. So now that I've sent that answer, we can come over here. You see these three ellipses. That means there's an answer, and you'll see the answer down here. So I wanted to go through that because it would be confusing. I don't want people to feel like their questions are unaddressed. There's also direct messages, but because it says someone sent me one, I won't out them in front of everyone. And finally, if you want to send a direct message to somebody in particular, you go to the attendees list. Say I want to talk to Chris alone. Send direct message. I could just click here. So say two of you realize you have a reason to touch base and you want to find some other communication, use that. We're not going to be using rooms or help today, so there's nothing really to do there. That's it. Did I miss anything, guys?
I think that's it.
All right, I'll go ahead and cut my screen share and hand it back over to you, Billy.
Okay, one thing that we wanted to do, and we're going to, Alan and Addison are going to talk individually here in a minute just about some of the observations that they've had, maybe share some experiences over of how we've all survived for the past 12 months. But HubSpot certainly hasn't been sitting still. HubSpot's continued to evolve the products and the services. We've continued to endeavor through the challenge of keeping up with the new products and services that they announce, going through the many certifications. We'll talk a little bit about that later too. But the first one thing we'd like to take advantage of in the chat is if you could just answer a few questions that we normally do at the beginning of our, we traditionally did at the beginning of our live hug meetings, is if in the chat, if you could, some of you already have, obviously your name pops up there when you chat, but if you could put in your name, your company URL and your title, and whether you focus more on B2B or B2C, business to business or business to consumer, or maybe both. And with that, it may help us to focus our topics. We kind of, like most people, we want to know who we're talking to and how we can make the material as beneficial as possible. Maybe how long that you've been on HubSpot, any kind of general information like that that you don't mind sharing. Hey, Naomi, it's nice to see the names of the folks we recognize. David Ebner. So anyway, Addison's already explained the Q&A. Alan wanted to make it clear that this is a bring your own beverage. I miss the pub, the Tucker Brewing, but that won't bother me. I can handle that part of it. And then the DMs, you covered that too, right, Addison? The direct messaging. Okay. One other thing we're going to cover is what's new with HubSpot and what's new with the Atlanta Hug. We'll talk about we're going to kind of ask about topics that you'd like to discuss in upcoming meetups. And then we'll do a preview of our upcoming Atlanta Hug meetups. And we've got a really exciting one planned for May. That'll really be our launch of this whole thing. Today, we're just kind of going through this and getting used to how the setup works. It's going to free us up to do a lot more things than we did in the past, where we can have not just monthly meetups, but we might be able to run actual workshops through this Bevy, to where we might work with individual groups that are interested in a specific topic, where we dive in deeper and either have someone from HubSpot working with us, one of our team leaders, or someone from a client's customer side that's seeing some success and wouldn't mind kind of going under the hood and going into like a live demo or case study of where they're having success. We'd love that type of exchange. And that may not be for a full meetup. It may just be for a individual session that people sign up, where we've got like a real clear agenda and takeaways from it afterwards. So anyway, with that, on what's new with HubSpot, Alan, did you want to roll through any of the things that you've seen? They announced a whole lot of stuff this past month. They do every month, but it's I know that just last week they made that big announcement about the Operations Hub.
Yeah, absolutely. So hello, everyone. My name's Alan Helms, work with Organic Endeavors. Hopefully I shared my screen, and I wanted to kind of give you a quick update. Just we don't have anything specifically prepared because this is our first re-engagement of the Atlanta Hug. So this is kind of our kickoff meeting, but we also wanted this to be a little bit valuable for you as well. So I wanted to share a couple of things that have come across my plate in the last couple of months that might be valuable to you. So just kind of a quick sharing session. So one of them is the Operations Hub, which you may or may not have seen was announced formally by HubSpot, I believe, yesterday. And so since I work a little bit more on the CRM side of things, this is especially exciting. So what is the Operations Hub? Short answer is I'm still digging through some of that. I think it's got a lot of broader implications, but it's basically the next step of using the HubSpot CRM as a platform for the entire business, not just marketing, not just sales, but really everything. They're so all of their I envision most of their apps, the App Store, are all going to be used and consolidated sort of into the Operations Hub. Any integrations that they're doing that you might try to perform are going to be part of the Operations Hub. And then one of their own recent acquisitions, which was a company called PySync, which was the ability to sync the data back and forth to other systems at the contact level. I think they're going to be consolidating that into this operations hub as well. So that's generally speaking what I think I'm seeing. I'd be curious to know if anybody else has dug into it anymore. If you want to put something in the chat that you've kind of found out that you think's intriguing, but I wanted to cover a couple of the things that I thought popped out on that'll be very, very helpful. One of these is they're going to have the ability to, if you can see this, one of them is, the way I've heard it explained is there's really like three different things. One thing is they've got a couple of workflow actions, which are eventually going to, I think, operate very similar to Zapier. If y'all are familiar with Zapier, I'm sure most of you are, is a way to integrate kind of an if-then statement with other systems. So if this happens in HubSpot, then sync this or perform this operation in another system. So what you can do here now inside of the Operations Hub with HubSpot is you can improve a couple of things. One, your data quality, and that's what I'm going to review here quickly today. But then the other one is you can actually custom code some workflow actions. So if you're handy with JavaScript, you can see here, you can create a workflow that's triggered by, in this case, if you've got a list or a certain field or property in HubSpot or an imported list, anything that's going to be triggering your workflow, you can then choose an action, which could be either a custom code JavaScript type action, or you can actually use it to format the data. And the format the data one's going to be very intriguing because how many of you have data in the system where maybe all your contacts are in all caps or they're not in the proper case, or some of them have the first name in all caps, but the last name's in lowercase. Or you want to format a date property a certain way. All of those types of things, you can go in and do some quick cleanup using the workflow actions. And that would look similar to something like this. If you actually pulled up a formatting data action inside your workflow, you can just click the property that you want to change and then decide whether you want to capitalize the first letter for all the first names on that list of contacts or not. So I think this is that's one real quick takeaway that I've got. And I think they'll move more toward, as artificial intelligence and automation becomes more prevalent. I think they'll probably develop this further where some of that gets done for you behind the scenes. But just want to cover that real quickly. I'm excited about it because I think that's going to help the HubSpot become more of a centralized repository, similar to the way Salesforce has grown in the market, where you are integrating everything with HubSpot, including your ERP systems, integrating it with a Shopify store, all of these integrations that are pulling or need to pull data into or out of HubSpot. I think this is going to be that central repository where a lot of that happens. So for you RevOps types, and I know several of you are in that arena, that might be helpful. So did we have any questions on that? Or let's see, we do have a Q&A. Let me go over to that. So David asked, could you format the data standardized county and state abbreviations? Not sure if that's a softball question or not, but yes, you can. Thanks, David. You can reformat, I believe, county and state abbreviations inside the system. To my knowledge, you can do that. So good question. Any other questions that anybody has about Operations Hub before I move on to one other quick tidbit?
Since I talk faster than I type, Alan, I see where the CRM suite, they say it's going to replace the growth suite, which I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but that's been one thing that's been a big evolution with HubSpot, is they've more and more, as you know, with the whole flywheel thing, gotten into both. They started with marketing, they moved heavily into sales and integrating between the two disciplines, and then the service, the whole flywheel concept, and they just continue to work on removing the silos from all of that. But the growth suite, the deal on growth suite, that whatever, I think it was $50 a month for the growth suite bundle. If I know that we've got a lot of people that attend the meetups that are more like I am, a creative, where I focus primarily on the marketing side of HubSpot, and really love the integration and strategy development between sales and marketing and the overlap. I enjoy that part of HubSpot, but I focus more on the creative and marketing side and content development. But it's impressive to see how many more tools are available, even in the growth suite, the growth starter. And I'd recommend that. That's probably your best, what is it, $50 or $75 that you'll spend. Of course, it's close to free, and you'll run into some limits that you get in either free or starter. But if you've not ventured into those other tool sets within HubSpot, I think it's time to do it. Just if it's, out of curiosity or whatever it may be. But if you go in and do the starter package, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point, Billy, because as this operations hub comes out, I mean, I think it's going to be part of the suite of products, obviously, that they're selling. And so I was just looking into, does it come with HubSpot, or is it going to be an additional price? And so a lot of things you can see that they're building in. So right out of the gate, if you use the operations hub for free, you're getting the two-way data sync, which again, I think is mainly the inherited functionality from that PySync acquisition that they had. So anybody that's used PySync, I think this is going to work very similar to that. And then you're going to have some default field mappings that come out of the box available with that. And then as well as the historical sync. So I think they're trying to use that acquisition a little bit as a basis moving forward. And again, this is a separate hub, separate from the marketing hub, separate from the sales hub. It's meant to be kind of a RevOps centralized location. And then I think they're going to use it for all their third-party integrations. They obviously want those to be available to everyone. So if you're trying to integrate with, QuickBooks, or you're trying to integrate with Microsoft, or, Salesforce has got the standard integration, it's going to work very similar to all of that. And I think they're all going to be available on the free side. Then they give you a little bit on the starter. I mean, it's really just the ability to do some custom field mappings, but they are going to want to charge, and it starts to get fairly pricey here when you're actually doing programmable automation and webhooks and things of that nature. So it's going to be fairly heavy integration types of applications and scenarios that I think people would be interested in that sort of thing here. So yeah, just, and that little thing that I just showed you, the data quality automation, that's going to be a little bit pricey. That's not going to be available out of the box for folks. So yeah, it'll be interesting, Billy, to see how they develop this as part of these packages of free starter, professional, and I'm assuming eventually enterprise as well as they grow this out. So yeah, any other thoughts or questions on that? Okay. And then the last thing, this is another property that I don't know too many people know about. I didn't know about it until I kind of stumbled on it a couple of months ago. And they just came out with an announcement that they've got a time between property. So again, this is mainly for people that are using the CRM side of things, where you can create calculated fields or properties. And so just to understand where that comes from, this is a basic offering. If you go to the knowledge base inside of HubSpot, you're able to, in the CRM, create calculated properties. And so that's just another way of saying, can I create a formula inside of HubSpot that calculates maybe the combination of two different fields, automatically kind of use HubSpot in a spreadsheet type format where you're trying to use a field to calculate the sum of two different fields, or the difference between two different fields. And for a long time, you've always been able to create the minimum or the maximum number, or count up, how many records are part of something, or count up the additional fields or the scoring fields, anything along those lines. So you were always able to do these basic calculations, but they just added very quietly this idea of a time between calculation. So you can actually calculate the time between, for example, maybe you want to know the time between a contact became a lead to when it became an MQL, or when it became an MQL to an SQL. Or in a lot of cases, I work with some clients where They have moved and grown beyond the standard HubSpot life cycle stages, and they actually use contact statuses. And that's where I found an application for it, is to say, well, how many of my sales qualified leads have been assigned to sales and they've been working for a certain amount of time? And sometimes you want a time limit on that to say, well, I want to know how long it's been in a working status. If it's been in a working status for more than 2 days, then we haven't followed up with someone, right? So that's where this becomes valuable, is you can start using it on a report or a dashboard, and you can start tracking your contacts by status and then see which ones have been in a new status, for example, a couple of hours, or how many have been assigned to sales and been working for more than 2 days. And to drill into that, it might look like this, where you've got a specific salesperson that's got too many contacts, 68 contacts that have been in a working status for 2 days. So that's obviously not being either updated by the salesperson, or they're just not staying on top of some of that. So how would that work? How would you set that up? So those of you with the ability to do calculated fields would just go and create a brand new property or field inside of HubSpot. And then in this case, I named it days in working status. And in this case, it's the calculated field is the equation. And you can use the calculated property type now, which is this time between. And just to note, you're going to have, in this case, where I'm trying to calculate the amount of time between two date fields or date properties. And one of them is well, actually, a couple of these are additional workflows that I had to create, where I created a timestamp when any contact entered working status, and I just capture that date as a date field on the contact. And then I also have a timestamp in there to stamp what today's date is on the contact. And that way I can actually take the difference between when they moved to working status to when they became to today's date, obviously. And so that would end up surfacing all of these contacts that have been in a working status for more than 2 days. So anyway, thought that might be of interest to some of you heavy hitters on the operation side, CRM side. Let me know in chat or reach out to me offline if you've got any questions about some of that stuff. Be happy to help you with that. But any other questions about that, Billy? Anything else you want to talk about there?
Addison, did you have some thoughts you wanted to share on your?
No, Alan covered a lot. Alan covered a lot more than I was expecting. Some of what I was just going to mention is that the most recent updates in HubSpot really fell into two big categories, and that's brand new products. And here I can do a brief screen share if I can remember. They made it enough like Zoom that nobody should forget. All right, so this was the April 1st update you guys probably got as well, but I wanted to mention that some of this stuff is answering past frustrations. So like Alan said, the new time between piece, we had tried 100 different ways for past clients to create systems that would allow us to see those data points, and there are several other dimensions that this is a common experience if you guys have ever worked with any HubSpot reporting, is there might be a data point you can see. For example, you can see it when you open an individual email, but you can't get that yielded into a report, right? So like % opens or % of those who opened that then clicked. And they're adding some of those dimensions in the custom report builder. So that's great. This is more of like a customer service piece. And if you've used it before and experienced frustrations, I highly recommend to go into the insights and data tools and try reports through HubSpot differently. You can always get online with HubSpot support if you're a pro or enterprise, but it's worth the investment. I personally believe. Whereas things like the conversation intelligence, this has a lot of brand new products. They are really trying to offer a full 360 suite for things like managing your sales calls through the portal. So these are totally different. They are kind of like add-ons that are totally different. And I don't know if you guys, they've been working a long time to get a project management piece working a little bit better. So the task for marketing teams is functioning that way. I haven't personally tried it since it debuted yet. And then more of the things that do fall into just quality of life improvements, bulk image import if you're running your website through HubSpot, you know how painful it can be to get a large library of images. Say you're doing a slideshow, you want to showcase an event that you had, and you have to upload 100 photos. Doing it one at a time is a pain. And then they've been optimizing the filter and search for HubSpot files to make the CMS more appealing. And I think that's critical because oftentimes you would title a photo exactly what you want it to be, and you can't go back and find it through HubSpot. So they're improving the health on that as well. Other than that, I didn't see anything that didn't seem, sort of, like hype or something. So if you guys saw any other services or offerings or education that you thought were worth mentioning, let me know.
Okay.
I'm handing it back over to Billy.
Well, we'll be wrapping up shortly. The one thing I've noticed just in the attendees over here, Mike Gill, I recognize so many of the names here, but David Dowdy from Marsden Marketing. David, I didn't realize you were a certified trainer. That's good to know. And I know that we've got a couple that are active in our HubSpot user group. I don't know if you remember David Reed from Phase 3 Marketing presented at the Hug a year or so ago, and really dove into how to take advantage of the HubSpot Academy, which is something that that's kind of what we're focusing on at MLT. Is I'm going to Sonia's on the call here, so this will be great news for her. But we're going to really encourage and incentivize everyone to dive back into the Academy and get their certifications updated. They do expire, and it seems tedious when you feel like you've got this great charm bracelet of certifications that you've achieved, and then they start expiring. You've got to go back in and redo it. And there's always new things to learn. Every time I've gone back and gotten recertified, I certainly learned new things. So with that, we do have David Ebner is on the call, and we work with David. David's really involved with the Atlanta HubSpot user group, and just started his own HubSpot user group that's really global on content development. And he runs the content workshop himself. He's an avid HubSpot user. That's the thing about this group. No one's going to try to sell you anything. We come to the group first and foremost as HubSpot users ourselves, and we want to learn together. We want to learn from each other. And there are a lot of great agencies in Atlanta that are HubSpot agencies that we don't intend to monopolize this platform. We want to use it as kind of an open, truly no one wants to get spam. That's why we'll never share the list of the members of the Atlanta Hub, because if you're a HubSpot user, you get enough emails. You get enough emails from HubSpot. You get enough emails from people trying to sell you a solution that integrates with HubSpot, and the lists are out there. But we will never take advantage of the information that you share with us in any way that inconveniences you. We do want to listen and learn from what you would like to get out of the Hug, and we want to make this Hug the best it can be. And so, David, we can follow up with you about if Marston has a topic that you want to present on. That would be great. See, Naomi Nicholas is doing incredible things. They've really they're working with both marketing and sales pro, and are a very sales driven organization, but they have great content and marketing and a fascinating business. And Naomi, at some point, maybe you can share some information or lead a group or sit on a panel. So we want to get everybody involved. We are going to introduce, Addison may follow up with a survey to our whole group where we get a little information. Like I said, we'll guard that information and won't take advantage of it. But we want to find out what you would like to get out of the Hug and how you would like to get more involved and improve your skill sets. If you are a freelancer, we want to help you with your networking. If you're looking for a job, if you're hiring, all of those things are great deals for a locally connected network like the Atlanta Hug is. What's new with the Hug platform is they had to reshuffle everything and move all Hugs all over the world to this virtual platform. The good news is if you look up find the Hug directory on the HubSpot website, you'll find that there's hugs all over the world. They're doing a program that we're participating in. It's 50 hugs in 5 days. Is that it, Sonia? Is that the theme for the? Anyway,
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, it's 50 hugs in 5 days.
Yeah, so we're involved in that, and you'll see the Atlanta Hug event in that roll call of events. But you can go there, and I believe now that it's open. You can attend other hugs that are virtually that are talking on interesting topics, which that's definitely going to be the deal. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but you'll see our upcoming hug is May 26th. You'll get information about it. You'll certainly get emails. We'd love to have you attend. I know we've had a couple of people present in the past on account-based marketing. Ann Marsden did a great presentation on account-based marketing and really got into almost like on an enterprise level, some of the sophisticated things that Marsden is doing in that area. But I'm kind of from the other approach. I'm really fascinated with the basics of ABM and how HubSpot's developing a tool set that helps you accomplish without a lot of added investment. Some really good tools exist for account-based marketing, even on the free side. And our speaker, it's ABM, account-based marketing, how to do it in HubSpot is our topic, May 26th. If you've ever been at the HubSpot Academy, you've seen this fellow that's going to present. It's a special presentation he's doing for the Atlanta Hug, and it's Kyle Jepson. He's a character, and he's enthusiastic to say the least. And he's going to be presenting, and he knows all the latest, greatest insight and advice about the HubSpot's account-based marketing tool set. And he's going to talk to us about how all you need to run a successful ABM strategy across marketing and sales. So with that, I think
that event is also on our webpage that if you would like to register now, you can. Okay.
And we're again, if you look in the chat, Sonia's put the links for our Slack group, for LinkedIn. We will give you information as we get it about if we're going to have any unofficial in-person meetings that would be conducted safely, of course, but there might be some subgroups, just like we have rooms now available where we may have a workshop where we break into different rooms during one of these hugs and go through some deeper dive exercises or learning process in the rooms. We may do some of those types of things in person too. We'll give you news about this year's inbound as we get it, and you're probably already getting promotional information about that. And with that, any of you can reach out to us directly. I want to make ourselves accessible and make it where anyone that's a member of the group, independent of us, can have an open and free exchange. But if anyone's got any additional questions, Alan or Addison, any?
No, I wanted to point out while you were announcing some folks. I mean, and I'm probably going to butcher your last name, Mike. I'm sorry, but it's Mike Gill, I believe. So he's been a long time participant and actually gave us a great presentation because he's been a long time HubSpot user as well. So, and he gave us a great presentation before we got shut down on using the CRM and how they use the CRM. And also wanted to acknowledge, I mean, we've kind of had a little chat going on, but Connor Jordan, he is really, really good and is one of the heavy hitters on the partner portal and answering a lot of in-depth questions. So he's got a lot of technical knowledge. So we should probably be smart to get him scheduled sometime soon so that he can do a presentation. Again, I want to add additional support to the I'm really excited about this next one with ABM. So I don't know if he mentioned, but any of y'all that have taken the HubSpot Academy, it's Kyle Jepson, who is the guy that runs the HubSpot Academy. So we're getting the #1 guy in the HubSpot ecosystem to actually be at our hug next month. So that's going to be really good for anybody that's interested in seeing how you do ABM with HubSpot. And so I'm hoping he can give us some insight on that. So I'm looking forward to next month.
Yeah, and speaking as a creative, and Addison, I think you're as much creative as I am and a strategist. But the thing that excites me about of learning and applying more tools in an account-based marketing environment is that all of the content that you develop and you utilize, if you're a believer or enthusiast about the inbound methodology. And inbound methodology is fine, it's great, but it's not the only thing and never has been. And traditional marketing and getting into sale tools for the salespeople has always been an important part of the content, your content inventory. And being able to serve up that content in the sales process is what excites me as an agency that develops content. There's so many more ways now to put content into play on a one-to-one, the ultimate holy grail. When a salesperson is in what do you call it, Alan, pipeline? When they're in the pipes working the sale and they need content that's appropriate, or they need to set up their sequences. All of that is just the opportunity to work with a very focused group, targeted key accounts that can impact your year. Those 5 or those 50 accounts, those 5 or 50 people within those companies. All of those new tools are real interesting ways. If you're a creative, you've just got more applications of the content you develop for your company. So anyway, I think it's worthwhile if we start to get a little technical on the sales side. I'd like to see more salespeople involved in the HUG, actually. Which would be great. If you're a participant in the HUG and you're on the marketing side, send the link and encourage. Now that it's virtual, it's going to be a whole lot easier to encourage your senior management or your sales leaders to get involved in the HUG. That's my sales pitch for the HUG. With that, I think we're about ready to wrap up, right? This will be the first time we've done that too. So I don't know if we just flip the switch and turn the lights off, or Alan, Addison, any last words?
I like to do it. I thank everybody for coming out. So thanks, guys, for supporting the virtual HUG. I hope to see everybody again. Remember, you can reach out to us. Our host information should still be on the sites, and reach out to us personally if you have any ideas for the HUG, anything that you think we could do better, anything that you liked and want to see again. Please let us know. We're also fielding topics. And then if I can get this survey together either today or sometime next week, we'll be sending it out. So you guys can just network and share your information through that, while also providing us some intel and a structured setup. Otherwise, guys, enjoy your Friday. And if you're like me, you're going to use it as an excuse to sign out for the weekend. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.